What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, with another edition of Where, Pick, and Dare, where I pick games for the various games that are occurring tomorrow. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, basically whatever games I want to pick, I will pick them. With all that being said, on with the video. MLB. Kansas City Royals versus Cleveland Guardians. The Royals have a 52% chance to win, and the Guardians have a 48% chance to win. This is at Cleveland for pitchers. Bergert for the Royals has an ERA of 2.61, the WHIP of 1.09. And Saccone for the Guardians has an ERA of 4.78, the WHIP of 1.3. Now, Saccone has pitched 107 and a third innings this year, while Berger has only pitched in 69. So let's look at Berger's career. So for his career, he has an ERA of 2.61, the WHIP of 1.09. So with those numbers, that's really good pitching for Bergert and not really good pitching for Saccone. So it's a definite advantage for the Royals. So despite the home field advantage that the Guardians have, I think with the pitching advantage, I think the Royals will beat the Guardians tomorrow. New York Mets versus Philadelphia Phillies. The Mets have a 49.8% chance to win. The Phillies have a 50.2% chance to win. This is at Philadelphia for pitchers. McLean for the Mets has an ERA of 1.37, the WHIP of 0.76. And Nola for the Phillies has an ERA of 6.78 and the WHIP of 1.51. Now McLean has pitched in 26 and a third innings this year, and Nola has only pitched in 69. So let's look at both of their careers. So for McLean, uh, well, that's it this year for McLean. And for Nola, he has an ERA of 3.83 and a WHIP of 1.15. So obviously he's not done so well this year comparatively, and McLean's done a lot better with the. But Nola does have a lot more experience. So but with McLean's ERA being as good as it is, like so what we've gotten so far, I would say the Mets have the pitching advantage. So despite the home field advantage that the Phillies have, I think with the pitching advantage, I think the Mets will beat the Phillies tomorrow. Milwaukee Brewers versus Texas Rangers. The Brewers have a 45.9% chance to win. The Rangers have a 54.1% chance to win. This is at Texas. For pitchers, Quintana for the Brewers has an ERA of 3.72 and a WHIP of 1.31. And Latz for the Rangers has an ERA of 3.15 and a WHIP of 1.28. So Quintana has pitched 121 innings this year, while Latz has pitched in 68 and two-thirds. So let's look at Latz's career. So for his career, he has an ERA of 3.28 and a WHIP of 1.32. So with those numbers, it's a good pitcher of both teams. Not really significant difference. So I think home field advantage be the big thing here. So I think the Rangers will beat the Brewers tomorrow. Cincinnati Reds versus San Diego Padres. The Reds have a 54.3% chance to win. The Padres have a 45.7% chance to win. This is at San Diego. For pitchers, Logolo for the Reds has an ERA of 3.22 and the WHIP of 1.04. And Darvish for the Padres has an ERA of 5.75 and the WHIP of 1.18. Now, Lodolo has pitched 134 in the third innings this year, while Darvish has only pitched in 51 and a third and two-thirds. So let's look at Darvish's career. So for his career, he has an ERA of 3.64 and a WHIP of 1.14. So that makes a good pitcher for both teams. So so it's basically, with those numbers, it's not really a significant difference here. So I think, home field advantage be the big thing here. So I think the Padres will beat the Reds tomorrow. St. Louis Cardinals versus Seattle Mariners. The Cards have a 32.5% chance to win, and the Mariners have a 67.5% chance to win. This is at Seattle for pitchers. Mikolas for the Cards has an ERA of 4.89 and a WHIP of 1.33. And Wu for the Mariners has an ERA of 3.02 and a WHIP of 0.97. So good pitcher for Wu, not really good pitcher for Mikolas. So I say it's a definite advantage for the Mariners. So with both home field advantage and pitching advantage, I think the Mariners will beat the Cardinals tomorrow. Arizona Diamondbacks versus San Francisco Giants. The Diamondbacks have a 42.3% chance to win, and the Giants have a 57.7% chance to win. This is at San Francisco for pitchers. Chris Matt for the Diamondbacks has an ERA of 2.14 and a WHIP of 1.33. And Webb for the Giants has an ERA of 3.17 and a WHIP of 1.23. Now Webb has pitched in 178 and two-thirds innings this year, while Chris Matt has only pitched in 21. So let's look at Chris Matt's career. So for his career, he has an ERA of 3.55 and a WHIP of 1.3. So with those numbers, it's good pitcher for both teams. Not really seeing a difference here. So I think hopeful man be the big thing here. So I think the Giants will beat the Diamondbacks tomorrow. NFL. Minnesota Vikings versus Chicago Bears. The Vikings have a 48.1% chance to win, and the Bears have a 51.5% chance to win. This is at Chicago. So, this could be a interesting game, with the Vikings. It looks like they're starting, JJ McCarthy at quarterback. Of course, they have Max Brosmer, Carson Wentz, backing them up. You have Ty Chandler and Aaron Jones Sr. and Jordan Mason at running back. Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Naylor at Am Thielen at wide receiver, TJ Hawkinson at tight end. So I mean, there's a decent surrounding cast for the Vikings and the Bears. Well, they of course have Caleb Williams at quarterback. With Case Keenum, Tyson Bagent, backing them up. You have DeAndre Swift at probably looks like being probably their main running back. Luthenberg in the third, Devin DuVernay, DJ Moore at wide receiver, Cole Kmet, tight end. Yeah, I mean, can't really, the the Bears, yeah, they have a. I mean, obviously their defense has been like the Bears, like that's been their bright spot for the past few years, and you know, even though they have they got Montez Sweat there, Grady Jarrett, T.J. Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, Tyreek Stevenson, they have a decent defense. It looks like, but the offense is the issue. Yeah, so of course they have a new head coach, because well, there's a lot of stuff the Bears have to fix. So the Vikings, are starting a new with their new starting quarterback. Just be interested with how does JJ McCarthy, play as a starter now. This could be an interesting game. Of course, McCarthy he had a meniscus, injury, last year. And you have Caleb Williams, see how it goes. But I mean, I'd probably be more from a quarterback standpoint. I would be more confident with Caleb Williams and JJ McCarthy. One from a health reason, two, I mean, obviously just from college years, Williams has generally been better than McCarthy in college. Now, of course, this is the pros. It's very different. And this is at Chicago, so with home field advantage, that could play a big role with these young quarterbacks. Crowd noise and all that, and anything else. So I think the Bears will beat the Vikings tomorrow. And that's it for picks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my picks. Do you agree with them? Do you not? If you have different picks, you can put them in the comments. But other than that, please like, subscribe, and all that. Thank you for listening, and look forward to the next video.